Wondered if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And that, I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and our running back coach didn't take it. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. We're live, looking ready to get things going on this hump day edition of the program. It is a wild card Wednesday. Actually, it's a media day. Alabama takeover of SEC media days as Alabama. Let that sink in. Alabama has been. I thought today was our day, but from looking at the news and the stories coming out, it seems like every day has been Alabama's day at SEC Media Days, as they have somehow, some way managed to be the talk of the town every single day up at SEC Media Days. So go figure. But today, the board takes the stage along with Florida, Billy Napier, Jeff Levy, Mississippi State, and Oklahoma's Brent Venables. So that's the 4 coaches that's up. We can talk about what we've heard over the last couple of days. We can talk specifically about the Arch Manning situation. Auburn and Arnold talking about how they can beat the Tide. Can't, but anyway, he wants to end that streak. I get that. What is the board jumped on with Christian Miller yesterday and talked about some of the lessons learned and this offseason. There's been several other changes this offseason as well regarding some body sizes. So that good or bad. I know a couple of years ago we got all hyped about, woo, our offensive line has beefed up, baby. The running game is back. Yeah. And we didn't see the run game at all under, what was the guy's name from Notre Dame? But anyway.
Reese.
Tommy Reese got everybody big, and then we didn't pound anybody. So, but anyway, there's lots to get to. We'll talk about that. We've hinted at the SEC hot seat coaches, so we can dig into that. We can also talk about more than just where we see Alabama. Now we're halfway through. We've heard, to me, pretty much all the big contenders, main contenders, with the exception of Alabama. I don't know that there's any other contenders for the SEC in today's docket or tomorrow's. So we can talk about what we think or how we think it's ultimately going to finish out. So we can do all of those things, plus any topic or conversation or question you may have, you can do that. And all you need to do is give us a call uh, on the Empowerment Strategy and Solutions, Empowerment Leadership and People Solutions Hotline at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904, or post your thoughts, comments, questions, and reactions in on the chat. A couple topics that we talked about yesterday, we'll get X's thoughts on as well. Remember that this is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice, be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Welcome back in, X. How you doing, sir?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing well.
Yeah. So I heard through the grapevine that there's been a lot going on with a certain college football legend, of course. And that's one topic I know that y'all hit yesterday that I kind of wanted to give my 2 cents on. And that, of course, is the rumors around Nick Saban. And it's funny how Greg McElroy hears all this information. Not saying that he good, but it's all it's always Greg that's got something just kind of like, what? Where'd that come from to say? But is Nick Saban going to return to coaching? I don't. Maybe. You know what? Maybe. Bill Belichick decided to switch from the NFL to college, and when he hasn't coached at the college level, I think in 40, almost 50 years. So who knows if Nick Saban decides to get back into coaching. And you know what? Maybe it's not at the college level. Maybe it's the NFL. Who knows? But at almost 74, be 75 by the time he or 75 the year he would return. I don't know about all that.
Yeah, we had some interesting banter yesterday, and I gave some thoughts of what I think happened. DC said, coaching his grandchild, that could be a return. I said a potential return would be as a GM, potentially at even at Alabama or somewhere like that. That I said that I could see him being involved in that type of way, AD somewhere, something like that, not necessarily sideline. Now we haven't had it in a while, X, where you had an AD / head coach like Coach Bryant was. Maybe Saban wants that on his resume. I talked about LSU would be the one college I could see him going to, or Kent State. You know what I forgot?
What?
I forgot one place. West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Daddy comes home. Mama's calling. I don't see that happening, but it would be something crazy. Like, it'd have to be some story behind it. You know what I mean? Like, going back to LSU and unfinished business. So Brian Kelly's seat is hot and tight just because the rumors out there. So that was kind of our conversation. But our kicker X was that Belichick and Saban were going to reunite, and Saban was going to become the general manager for North Carolina to help the recruiting. I don't see it happening, but anyway, Blind Squirrel.
That would be hilarious. No, that would be crazy.
Yeah, Blind Squirrel Sports said, I like how Kirby Smart jokingly said he offered Muschamp's job to Saban, but Nick is overqualified for the position. That was a big story yesterday. I don't know if you realize that for some reason they left Muschamp's name out of the media guide. So the rumor or the thought was that he wasn't going to be coaching there, but it appears now that he will be. And he didn't say what role, so I don't know what that means. And then Curtis Moore, the second X, saying Nick Saban, professional level, but definitely not college, new college football landscape. But like Kirby Smart said yesterday, the boss, Miss Terry, will make that decision, laugh out loud. And that's why I say Mama could come calling. Mama could. That's why I said GM at Alabama, because Courtney Morgan is gonna become $1 million man. I'm telling you. If he's behind Alabama's recruiting success, X, how big a raise is he going to get this offseason, or where is he going to be? I mean,
right. It's one or the other.
Yeah, and then Saban said his one regret. He didn't say he regret leaving Miami. He did say he regretted, if he had some regret, it was LSU.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad he has that regret.
Yeah.
Because if he didn't, Saban would have won 10 national titles at LSU. And people don't want to hear that. He would have won more titles at LSU than he did at Alabama. Because there wouldn't have been a Nick Saban at Alabama.
Yeah.
I mean, who was going to stop him? Who would have stopped him? The guy who took his place would have won 4 if Saban hadn't came back here. Anyway, that's just my thoughts there. Anyway, X, I toss it back to you.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. You know, the grandson part of it would be funny because the grandson is the daughter of my old classmate, his daughter, but he's like 5. He's younger than Deuce is. So seeing old Coach Saban out there with a bunch of 5 and 6-year-olds running around would be a sight to see for sure.
My thing was how viral or how many will viral or the post if you're the coach on the other side and your team beats Coach Saban's team.
Oh, we storming the field.
We storming the field. Hey, listen, Chase. If I'm coaching the little league team that beats Nick Saban team, I'm applying for my local high school team. I'm like, hey, y'all need to be hired. I need to be the coach at the high school. I need to be the coach at Alabama. Give it. No.
Flag, it could be flag football. It don't matter.
Huh?
Yeah, it could be flag football. If we beat them, I'm moving up.
That's right. Anyway.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna put a bow on that, but what do you have?
I was just getting ready to take us to break. Go ahead.
All right, okay. Yeah, no, I think it's just an interesting thought process that the greatest coach of all time could have that itch already again. But I'm going to tell you, I don't think it's going to happen. I think Miss Terry has her claws in him, and she's not going to let him go again.
Yeah, I don't know, and the whole Saban thing, getting out there. Kiffin, the 2 people who said yes was Greg McElroy and Kiffin, and most people would say those 2 are media attention hogs.
Yeah.
So everybody else has said no, they don't see it happening, and so I'll leave it at that. Was it a ploy by Greg McElroy? Maybe, maybe not. Was Kiffin the source? So, because he said he talked about it. But anyway, if it happens, X, answer this and take us to break. Would it taint Saban at Alabama? Would the Alabama fans have a different opinion? I don't think anything he could do to taint his legacy here. But would the Alabama fans be in some kind of way if Nick Saban were to end up at LSU or some other SEC program? He could go somewhere else maybe. But if he ended up somewhere else, would they be tore up? We'll be back on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very good morning to you on this hump day. We're getting off to a nice and quiet start, relatively. If you're moving around, well, most of the area. We got 2059 green for go between McFarland and Joe Malisham. Also, traffic moving smooth on 359. That in between 15th Street and 2059. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
This report is sponsored by Stand Up to Cancer.
The Tide 100.9 WTBC 1230 Sports Radio studio is presented by B-Dry Alabama. B-Dry Waterproofing. Online at bdryalabama.com.
Joe Buck and John Smoltz welcoming you back to the City Center Convenience Mart. Uh-oh. She's looking at the cigarettes, but she just grabs the gum off the counter. Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer. Go to takeahealthystand.org.
There is no price tag on love. It's not in your bank account or in your retirement fund, and the price tag isn't the point when you shop at Fincher and Osmond. The point is, you love her, and if your budget is $200 or $20,000, it's here at Fincher and Osmond, and she'll love it.
I'm Tom Osmond, your jeweler at Fincher and Osmond Jewelers. Not so easy to find on McFarland, between Edgar's and local routes.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-923-6829 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-923-6829. That's 800-923-6829. What do you have to lose? Call 800-923-6829. Again, 800-923-6829.
Hey, I'm Martin Houston, and I want to tell you about exciting news happening at Box Eye Care. They've moved to their new location, bringing you a brand new lab, stylish new frames, and a fresh look just for you. Enjoy their expanded frame inventory, competitive prices, and faster service, all with the same great level of service you've come to know and trust. Discover this full-service eye care at Box Eye Care's new location. With their in-house lab, they offer unbeatable value and one of the largest frame collections in town. Schedule your eye exam today and walk out with new glasses in less than an hour in most cases. Visit boxeyecare.com. That's boxeyecare.com, or call 205-342-0660. That's 205-342-0660. Visit them at 5003 Oscar Baxter Drive. That's Box Eye Care. Your vision, our priority.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Another hot, humid day today, partly to mostly sunny. A few spots could see a thunderstorm this afternoon or this evening. The high today 95, the low tonight 75. Tomorrow partially sunny, scattered storms by afternoon, the high 92. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 77 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. Hey, don't forget about the good folks over at TJ's Pharmacy and Wellness. TJ's Pharmacy and Wellness, they bring us, Free for All Fridays each and every day. They're located at 303 Hargrove Road East. You can call them at 205-752-0627, tjspharmacy.com. Listen, if you're looking to make sure that all of your medication is correct, that they know you by name, that they can help you in crisis moments, you need a local pharmacist like I grew up with back in the day, where they knew you and had a relationship. Don't mess around and get caught with the wrong medicine, the wrong drug, because you went online or went to one of the big boxes. Check out TJ's Pharmacy and Wellness. New location, same great service. TJ's Pharmacy and Wellness, 303 Hargrove Road East. X, take it away.
Yeah, some interesting comments for talking about the Nick Saban back in college football. And, well, Bam Bam 72 says that you can't have Saban Field and then him go back to LSU. Just thinking about that being a possibility doesn't sit well with me. And I don't think it would sit well with a lot of Bama fans. But as we know, Coach Saban, he's going to do what he wants to do, and he don't care about your opinion. So quit asking. As well as Blonde Squirrel said, as Bama fans, does it bother y'all to hear Kirby Smart say that Saban still gives him defensive advice, or is it a non-issue since Georgia can't beat Bama anyway? Well, seeing how Kirby was 1-4 against Saban, he can give him all the advice he wants. And Kirby is now 0-1 against DeBoer. Let's just hope he's giving Womack a little more advice than he's giving Kirby for this upcoming season. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it probably happens a lot more than people think, and even during the season. I mean, I think these coaches talk. I am convinced that the reason Tennessee beat us a couple years ago up in Knoxville when they ended the streak was because Sarkisian and Heupel got together and talked. So these coaches are like brothers. They and even it's worse in the pros, but even in the college game, they go from being on staff with each other, working for each other, working with each other, for each other, et cetera. So I'm not surprised by that at all. And not trying to be funny, Saban was trying to transition to the new defense. I don't think he necessarily had the same level of defense down the stretch. I hope he continues to give him – hopefully he'll tell him how to play defensive backs. And so we can smoke him when we come over there, because that method didn't work. Let's be real. Down the stretch, Saban's style of run and don't turn around and play the ball, play the receiver, not the ball ever, and these quarterbacks got better and better. Maybe he'll pick that style up. So I'm like, Bam Bam, doesn't bother me at all. So, but it would bother me if he was at LSU and we'd have to change Saban Field to something else. Take it away.
Yeah. Well, we have Philip wanting to get in on the Empowerment and Leadership and People Solutions Hotline. Wants to talk about the Greg McElroy comments. How you doing this morning, Philip?
I'm fine. I hope y'all are doing good.
Yes, sir.
Doing well.
Yeah. I was on my way home from work yesterday, and my brother called me. He said, "What's Coach Saban going to do?" And I said, "What, has he said something?" Saban hadn't said anything. The only person that said something is Greg McElroy. And for McElroy to throw his hands up and say, I meant no harm in, say what I did, and I don't understand why people be surprised, blah, blah, blah. Well, he's being obtuse and insincere as the day is long. He started a shark. McElroy started a shark rodeo, and he's the one slinging the chum into the Gulf of Mexico. He did Kalen DeBoer a big disservice, a huge disservice, and he can't sit there and say, "Oh, I did it. I didn't mean to do that." Well, he did it, and it was stupid what he did. So I hope that will get addressed pretty soon by Saban, and because already these articles are coming out by these new college football writers that I've never heard of, and you probably never heard of. Talking about, is Saban coming back into coaching? He may go back into coaching, but my issue is what McElroy did and the shark fest he created.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a rumor, and like I said when we started, I think it's interesting that how many times Greg is the one saying all this off the wall rhetoric about what's going on and things of that nature. And I think it's his way of maintaining relevance to a certain degree.
Oh, yeah. I agree with you all the way on that. Mm-hmm.
Because it's funny. Greg McElroy and Chris Leak have to have some of just the worst luck, I think, because when you hear people talk about Tim Tebow, they go, Tim Tebow won 2 national championships. Well, Tim Tebow was a backup, and they don't play for that first one. Like, we just got to be real. If Chris Leak is not the guy for Florida in 2006, Florida's not winning.
Right.
AJ McCarron, every time you hear people talk about him, is he won 3 national championships. He was on the team for 3 national championships. At least Tim Tebow played in that 2006 national championship. AJ redshirted. And so I think Greg gets a credit taken from him in that sense. And so I think maybe it's a little jadedness, maybe, but that's just kind of my thoughts on it.
Mm-hmm. Well, Alabama's got a tough schedule this year, and it's going to be hard to beat teams week in and week out. And Wes Neighbors was on Rise and Fowler show yesterday, and Wes was straight up. He said, this team will have some losses. He's looking for improvement, like all Alabama fans are, and like you are, and I am, and everybody that I know that follows the team in an avid style. Not in a tailgating style, but in an avid style where you know the roster and you know the depth chart and you know what's going on. And there are not that many fans out there that do. But I think McElroy pulls.
Did he say which games they would lose? Because I think which games did he say lose? Maybe the Georgia there.
West didn't say a game. He just said,
That's what I'm saying. When we say this is a tough schedule, we're looking at helmets. We're not looking at rosters and things like that.
Yeah, that's right.
4 years ago, I would agree with that. But I don't see any – I mean, Saban always lost one game except for 2 of his 17 illustrious years. So right. that's – but to say losses, I don't know that anybody else has any better shot at running the table than Alabama does, because – Georgia and South Carolina, kind of the tough games. Everybody else is here. And I see Georgia coming in with a new quarterback, not being the dominant team that they were 2 years ago. I haven't bought into the South Carolina hype yet. I want to see them do it after coming off an off season. It's one thing to be hunting. It's another thing to be the hunted. I don't know that South Carolina can handle that. So I don't know if this schedule is as tough as we thought it was because of the way college football has changed.
Well, that's true. And Wes said that too. Wes said if things fall right, Alabama's going to be in the national championship hunt, and I believe that too. But hopefully Alabama can get over the road woes that they had last year. And every year is different. Like you said, Martin, with the rosters changing and improving and getting new resources in every year with new players, things change in a year's time so drastically with everybody that it's hard to sit there and just look at the helmets and say they're going to win, they're going to lose, they're going to win, they're going to lose. Can't do that anymore. You're right.
Yeah. Thanks, Philip. Good to hear from you, man. It's been a while. Good to hear from you. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was good insight from Philip there. Greg, but Bam Bam in 72, Philip said it from one angle. Bam Bam, I'm not sure if he said it from the other. Saban could shut this down by saying it's not true. And that would be a great service to Alabama if he came out and said Greg misspoke. It could shut it down, and it would help Alabama, and it wouldn't be about him. But is Saban trying to get a little attention as well? Who knows? But the whole Alabama thing. Alabama lost 3 games last year by 1 score with new roster, huge turnover, new staff. Yeah, we're disappointed in those losses, but 3 of Alabama's losses you could easily see them winning, playing horrible in those losses, and still only losing by 1 score. So I think Alabama's roster and this year that they're heading in the right direction.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're gonna go ahead and get to break, and when we come back on the other side, we'll get Pat in on the hotline, and then we will talk about what some of the big questions are that Alabama and Coach DeBoer will be answering today at SEC Media Days. We'll be back on the other side. This is the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very good morning to you on this hump day. We're getting off to a nice and quiet start, relatively. If you're moving around, well, most of the area. We got 2059 green for go between McFarland and Joe Malisham. Also, traffic moving smooth on 359. That in between 15th Street and 2059. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
Got timberland in West Alabama or East Mississippi? North River Timber Company has you covered. Since 2011, Courtney White, a registered forester, along with his expert team, have been managing timberland and harvesting timber across 4 West Alabama counties. They offer comprehensive timber management plans, reforestation services, and appraisals. Courtney White says timber is like money in the bank. Don't let your investment go unrealized. Call North River Timber Company today. Email them at northrivertimberco@gmail.com or call 205-242-5127.
Childhood cancer is devastating, but childhood cancer is beatable with St. Jude. I knew that St. Jude was a children's hospital, that no one ever received a bill from St. Jude, but I in no way understood how completely they take care of their patients and their families. To any of the donors, I would say bless you and thank you, because without the donors, St. Jude wouldn't be here.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Houston Hydrosteam. That's Houston Hydrosteam. Quality work you can stand on. Whether you're looking for carpet and upholstery cleaning, oriental rug cleaning, residential or commercial water damage, and a whole lot more, you need to call Houston Hydrosteam at 205-553-9460, 553-9460, or visit them online at houstonhydrosteam.com. And once again, Houston Hydrosteam is quality work you can stand on.
This is the Bosch Man from Taylor Electrical. I had some amazing words of wisdom I wanted to give to everybody today, but most people just want to hear our song, so here it is.
Outlets sparking, lights are blowing. Don't do it yourself, or you'll be glowing. Call Taylor Electric. We do it all. Taylor Electric. Give the Bosch Man a call.
Call or text 205-553-0958.
The Venue, your new favorite Tuscaloosa hangout, food, music, and more. Come and taste what's new at The Venue, whether it's Liza's Sweet Shop, whether it's the all-day breakfast and burgers from Ramajama's, or the quality food that you can get at Finish Pub. Great atmosphere, great time, great people, great environment. That's The Venue. You can find them online at thevenuetuscaloosa.com, located off of Watermelon Road, just past Sokol Park. That's The Venue, Tuscaloosa's new favorite hangout. Make it yours.
Are you receiving unemployment? Your benefits could be at risk. Here's how you can protect yourself and your benefits. Never respond to mail notifying you of a false claim in your name. Never answer a text message asking you to verify your account. And only respond to official Alabama Department of Labor's social media pages. Report fraud at labor.alabama.gov/fraud. Brought to you by the Alabama Department of Labor, ABA, and the station. The Alabama Department of Labor is an equal opportunity employer program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request to individuals with disabilities. Dial 711 for TTY accessibility.
Keep it locked into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. As we continue this Wild Card Wednesday, we have Pat joining us in on the Empowerment, Leadership, and People Solutions Hotline. How you doing this morning, Pat?
Good morning, guys. Oh, now that they got it to where you're going to have legitimate NIL and all that kind of stuff, what team has the ability to pay Coach Saban the $12 million or so that it would take to get him? And then have legitimate NIL for the players in order to get the players that he would need to win in a short period of time, in a 3-year period to win a national title. And the ability to hire the coaches that he would need in order to do that. Hey, this is all a ploy by Jimmy Sexton in order to get more money out of ESPN. Do y'all not see that? ESPN, Coach Saban is ESPN's money cash cow. And this is all a ploy by Jimmy Sexton. And Jimmy Sexton being also Lane Tipton's agent, you don't think that could be a tie-in? Come on.
I don't think it would be money for Coach Saban. I think it'd be some type of unfinished business feel that he would have. Like him saying with LSU, it's the regret of what he could have built there. You know, he could not only be the greatest head coach of all time, but he could be the foundation layer at LSU. You know, Kent State would be going back to his alma mater, you know, in a way. Now, I'm not saying that Kent State would end up on any type of like top 10 perennial powerhouse, but it would have that Coach Bryant feel. You know, West Virginia, going back home where you're from, that type of thing. So I don't know if money has anything to do. Like I said earlier, I think if Miss Terry said you can go do it, he'd go do it.
And Pat, I do agree. I think I don't think Saban's worried about money, but I do think if this rumor persists out there, ESPN will up the ante. I think that Saban realizes he sits beside a guy every week that is one of the highest paid guys at ESPN talking about McAfee. And I think it probably drives him nuts because the guy, I mean, he's great for TV, but anyway, I sidebar. I don't see it happening, but I wouldn't be shocked because I think he would be doing it for the love of the game and the love of being around kids, and it's the Pee Wee coach. It's just like I went out and volunteered at a high school for no money to be with my son, and then was able to go back the next year, and I didn't have a kid plan, but I so love being around those other kids that I was willing to do that, and that's where I think Saban is too. Anyway, we Saban. This is why Greg McElroy did a great injustice, Pat. It's Alabama Day, and we've not talked about Alabama yet.
Yep.
And so I'm ready to move on.
He cannot hire coaches. It's an issue. He's too old.
Ready to move on. Ready to move on. X.
All right, Pat. Hey, we appreciate the call.
Pat may have something about the board, but let's move past Saban this morning.
You got any questions about the current coach? All right. I guess Pat's gone. So Alabama SEC Media Days, you got Deontay Lawson, you got Tim Keenan, you got Caden Proctor, Coach DeBoer. What do you feel like will be the number one question asked to Coach DeBoer today?
Have they settled on a starting quarterback?
Yeah.
You should have went
Yeah.
first at the mic.
I did. But yeah, do you think that is also the question asked to the players? Or maybe not set, but who they are gravitating to?
I think that the Alabama players will get a quarterback question. I don't know if it'll be the first question. I think Caden Proctor's first question is probably going to be about how is his health? How has he recovered from his surgery, missing his second spring? Does he feel like he's ready? I think that's going to be kind of his question.
I think that'll be Deontay's question as well. Hey, how's the knee? Are you how close are you? Are you going to be ready to compete in a month and a half? Where are you at with that? I think Tim might get asked, why'd you come back?
And what do you think his response will be?
I won a national championship before I leave.
You think that Tim Keenan came back for a national championship? Or
I think I see Tim is an old school nose tackle. I think his draft stock is probably close to where it's going to be. Whether he left this year or if he, or this upcoming year, I think it's close to what it's going to be. But man, that you just had he's a part of that class that if they win it this year, every class wins a national championship. It's we ended the 3 years win a championship thing, but there's still fifth year seniors on this team that are part of that 2021 class that if they win this year, every class has won a national championship.
Yeah, I don't think that probably made him. I think his stock. I think Keenan. I don't think that Tim would have been a first, second rounder last year if it came out. I think he can have a type of season that could get them to that level. Get him to that level if he dominates. Because if that's what you need, there's not a lot of choices. He will benefit from the supply and demand. If your defense calls for that old school nose tackle, I think his stock rises if he has a type of season. And if this defense has the type of season, and that's the key, X, when you look at this team, and we'll talk about the SEC guys who we think will make all SEC, first, second team, et cetera, tomorrow and Friday. But I think Tim Keenan has a chance to do some special things. Another question I would ask that I think is going to be asked of Alabama today is how are they handling the expectations in terms of year two and how the expectations are beginning to change. Because to me, that's probably one of the biggest things. It's pretty amazing how have you ever seen a team go into last year season and then it ends up bad, but all of a sudden they catch momentum. And it's not just because of the recruiting. I think the recruiting is helping, which has nothing to do with this year's team. But this team's expectations, to me, flipped on its head because at the end of last year, there was worry about where Alabama was headed. But when they didn't lose anybody really, and then they came out of spring and really didn't lose anybody, all of a sudden now you're having to kind of go, okay, is this team ready?
Yeah, I think that's a big question for this year's team. And I bet the question is asked, how do you think y'all didn't lose anybody, whether it's from the player standpoint or from coach DeBoer? I think that's the question that gets asked in it, because it's crazy, a quote unquote down year, and you don't lose anybody in the spring at all, and the guys that you lose in the winter portal is more of these are older guys that probably weren't going to be playing if they stayed type of feel with them. But no, I think it's going to be, I think that's a good question to ask. I also believe that when you look at I think you get a lot of questions about young guys and their abilities to contribute, the new pieces that have been added. Defensively, for sure, since you've got two of those guys up there, I think you get a lot of questions, about the Justin Hills, the Dejon Lees, the Nikhil Hill Green, guys like that, and how they're going to contribute.
What do you think the board's message is going to be? What do you think he's going to do?
Ooh, that's a good question. Second year, expectations building, new starting pieces at key spots. I think you're gonna see something along the lines of having a united front and a focused, being locked in going into the season, something along those lines. I don't know if I can word it yet.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is I think he'll come out and he'll talk about. I think he will admit that coming into Alabama may have been, not more than he could handle, but that it was just the level of expectation, and that he and his staff not having as much continuity, is big time there. Curtis Moore hitting a great point. Alabama losing to, three teams that they should have beaten for sure, and could have beat Tennessee after playing a horrible game. And so Curtis Moore II said, don't underestimate any opponent. I think Alabama, I think they're going to come in with a humble approach, but a confident approach. I think you're going to see that in all four of the speakers. And that sledgehammer to an ant approach, that's probably what they've been telling themselves all year is, guys, if we had took care of our business last year, we make the playoffs. We're a better team. We're a stronger team. We're a more experienced team. And we have some key pieces that we're missing, and we all know each other better. Our culture's better. So let's go do this thing. We need to get out of here because we got Scotty Hollins, but we'll keep it going. We'll react to Kalen DeBoer and other Alabama players on tomorrow. So make sure you come back right here on the Martin Houston Show. SEC Media Days. Alabama's on the mic on this Would You Rather Wednesday, Wild Card Wednesday, Hump Day edition show and SEC Media Days. We'll have Scotty Hollins, Executive Director, Blueprint Ministry.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Wednesday edition of The Game, Alabama Day at SEC Media Days. Our coverage continues from the College Football Hall of Fame. We will sit down with the head football coach at the University of Alabama, Kalen DeBoer. We'll talk to some of these players. We'll have a chance to recap a lot of what Kalen DeBoer said. Starting at 2 p.m. on The Game with Ryan Fowler on Tide, 100.9, 1230. WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest running sports program in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, running pretty smoothly across the Tuscaloosa freeways and side streets, not seeing any extremely heavy delays. McFarland Boulevard is moving smoothly in between 15th Street and 2059, and we're also looking good on 2059 as you hook up there in between McFarland and Joe Malisham. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Tammy Thomas.
This report is sponsored by Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Shop Townsend Nissan today. Fair, fun, and fast. The right products at the right place. That's why people shop Townsend Nissan. Scott and Boulevard, Tuscaloosa. The Tide 100.9 WTBC 1230 Sports Radio studio is presented by B-Dry Alabama. B-Dry Waterproofing. Online at bdryalabama.com.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique. But you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was going to unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
It's Alabama Campers' grand opening event in Tuscaloosa. Find new Forest River, Keystone, Salem, RVs, and Sprinter fifth wheels. You'll find a great selection of new and pre-owned RVs, front living, rear living, 2 entry options, and more. Many with low or no down payments. Experience the great outdoors. Alabama Campers' grand opening, 5126 McFarland Boulevard East in Tuscaloosa. Easy financing and top-tier service at Alabama Campers and online at alabamacampers.com.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back in. It's now time for the Martin Houston Show and the Harvest Church 2-minute warning where we love God, love people. That's Harvest Church, but now let's toss it to Scotty Hollins, Executive Director, Blueprint Ministries, to give us a word of encouragement, how we can incorporate our faith into the boardroom, the classroom, or our chosen field of play. Good morning, Scotty. How you doing, sir?
Hey, good morning, Martin. I'm doing fantastic, and I'm looking forward to continuing our new series, Unlikely Heroes. And again, starting with Joshua, we kind of kicked off with him. And since he's going to be, again, our first guy, we have to spend another week. I want to make sure that we lay the foundation. We talked about Joshua, unlikely hero. Why do I say unlikely hero? Martin, he wasn't a starter. He was second string, right?
Right.
Moses was the starter, right? And so when we find Joshua, we in Joshua chapter 1, we see Joshua has just lost his mentor, Moses, who was the guy, again, that he looked up to, the guy who had mentored him. One of the greatest leaders in Israel's history was Moses, again. And now Moses has died. And God is saying, now, Joshua, it's up to you. Next man up. It's time for you to take the lead. And the mission is still the mission. We're still going somewhere, and we're still going exactly where I said we were going in the first place, which is to the land that I've promised you. And so when we come to Joshua, we see, again, an amazing pre-game message, right? Pre-war message from God. And God tells Joshua, listen, man, you still got to lead this group of people, the same group of people that tried to kill Moses when he tried to lead them. They said, hey, we'll stone you if you keep talking about this promised land. So hey, let's let that thing rest. Don't talk about that anymore. We're not going. We're afraid. There are giants in the land. Leave it alone, Moses. And he said, yeah, Joshua, you lead that group of people. Yeah, you got to lead them. Yeah, Moses is there, so you don't have him to look to. And then, yeah, you got to fight. You got to lead them to fight against those 31 different groups of giants that they were afraid of. Yeah, the plan is still the plan. And so, but what he tells them in that moment, though, just as a reminder, guys, is that he says, I want you to be strong and courageous. He says that 3 times in 9 verses, be strong and courageous. Listen to me, because I'm with you. And I think that's so important that we don't miss that. Be strong and courageous because I am with you. And one thing I mentioned last week was it doesn't help us to know that God is with us unless we know the God who is with us. Said a different way, to the degree that we know the God who's with us, will it benefit us to know that he's with us? And so let me give you a little play from Joshua's playbook. Listen to me. If you're going to be able to walk in faith like that, trust, again, God said, be strong and courageous because I'm with you. If you want to know the God who's with you, guess what that's going to take? It's going to take a little time. And I want to encourage you, each of you who are listening, that God has amazing plans. The greatest plan is surrendering your life to him. That's the greatest plan. But then once you make that decision to surrender your life to him, then he has amazing plans for you to follow him faithfully. And as you follow him faithfully, he'll lead you to exactly how he wants to use you to be a blessing. We're blessed to be a blessing. But listen to this. Joshua spent time. There's if you look back, there's a time where Moses would go into the tent to spend time with God. And there's one verse in particular that says when Moses came out of the tent, because Moses was busy, he had work to do. And this was obviously before Moses died. Then it says, but Joshua remained in the tent. Martin, Joshua said, hey, no, I'm going to spend a little bit more time. Well, guess what? I want to encourage each of us, and I'm not saying each of you, each of us, to make sure we have time built in to spend with God every day. Because the more time we spend with him, guess what? The more we'll know him. The more we know him, guess what? The more we'll trust him. The more we trust him, the more we'll follow him faithfully wherever he's leading us, because we know he can be trusted, because we know he's faithful. In verse 9, God tells Joshua, he says, be strong and courageous because I'm with you. And then he says, do not be discouraged. Do not be afraid. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Well, listen, that's his promise to Joshua. And guess what? It's his promise to us. But does it matter that we know that God is with us? The Lord our God is with us wherever we go. And I'm telling you, it won't matter unless we know him. And so I want to encourage everyone, as we think about these unlikely heroes, Joshua was second string. So if you're not the starter in your particular situation, I just want to encourage you. God can still use you, and maybe you're better positioned to be used by God as a second string or third string or walk-on. I was a walk-on. So maybe God has you exactly where he wants you to be, but he wants you to trust him and follow him faithfully. Martin?
Yeah, I love it. As you were saying that, it made me think about muscle memory when you get your reps in football, or when you're coming back from an injury. The more time you spend exercising and repeating that same pattern, and the quality in which and intensity in which you spend rehabbing or practicing, then you get out in the real world and you get ready to use it again in live round ammunition. It's just natural. It just flows because you learn to trust that muscle again without thinking about it. And that we can get to that place in our relationship with God. So tell them where they can find us.
Absolutely. Go to www.blueprinttuscaloosa.com. You can send me a message there. Come straight to my email.
All right. Remember this: trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding, always acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. That's Scotty Hollins, Executive Director, Blueprint Ministry. That's Chase Brumfield pressing all up buttons. X on earlier. I'm Martin Houston. We'll catch you on tomorrow where we'll break down what Coach DeBoer and team and others had to say at SEC Media Days. It's official. The Tide's 2025 season is here. Take care and roll Tide, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.